All right. How do you think the presence of Lukurawa in the northwestern part of the country impact regional security, given the ties to ISIS in the Sahel?
Well, their presence is a great threat to the regional security in the northeast, and of course, they've already started perpetrating crime. They've started attacking civilians, and they've started unleashing mayhem on the citizens. So the military ordinarily are supposed to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria, and but from what the director is saying, they are shifting the blame to the people for not communicating the arrival of the terrorist group. For me, the military ought to have been proactive in the defense of our territory. They ought to have put measures in place that will prevent the incursion of this terrorist group from Mali. And in event that they persist, the military ordinarily should have resisted them vehemently. So for them to be shifting blame to the locals for not communicating on time, I don't think it's appropriate.
Well, you touched on something quite interesting, talking about neighboring countries. You mentioned Mali. Let's also talk about, countries like Niger and also the Chad borders. What steps do you feel can be taken to strengthen security operations along these regions?
Prior to this time, there was collaboration between the Nigerian army and the Niger army in ensuring the safety of the border lines. Now, when the coup took place and it collapsed such collaboration, we expected the Nigerian army to focus on the Nigerian territory, not necessarily across the border, but within the border. They ought to have anticipated the infiltration of this militant group or militia or terrorists, whatever they are being called now. They ought to have anticipated their incursion into Nigeria, and as a result of such anticipation, they ought to have protected the territory, particularly bordering Niger. So for them not to have taken such proactive measures and left the borders porous just because the collaboration no longer exists, it's unacceptable.
When it comes to tackling crime and criminality in a place like Nigeria, as well as our neighboring countries, do you feel there's a need for synergy between local communities and also identifying members of these Lukurawa? And what can the military do to foster collaboration effectively?
Yes, there is need for collaboration involving locals to escalate intelligence, but then the military should put the locals are they aware of the procedures, the process of escalating, first of all identifying and generating intelligence, and then are they aware of how to escalate? No. So the military ought to create awareness. If you want to involve the locals, you educate them on what to do, because it is one thing to identify a criminal, and another thing to communicate, to escalate to the right persons. So the military should carry out very robust grassroots orientation program. If you want the locals to be involved, you should see them as a part of the security network. You should educate them on what to do. If they know what to do, then they will do what you expect. But for you not to, before now, you have not educated them and you are expecting them to escalate reports. To the best of my knowledge, they wouldn't know how to go about that.
I know you referenced the need to create awareness for locals to identify this group of terrorists, but beyond enlightenment, or sensitizing people in the community, what strategies should the military adopt to weaken this Lukurawas at this, very early stage?
Well, immediately, the best strategy is to attack. First of all, from what the director is saying, they've developed intelligence, they've mounted surveillance, and the recognizance has been settled. So the next is to attack. If you know the locations, if you have identified these persons, attack them. You should not degrade them. You should decimate them. The terrorists do not. They are not playing. They are not. They've come to wreak havoc. They've come to wreak mayhem in the communities where they are already occupying. So identify them and decimate them. So that's the only strategy. Kill them.
Well, indeed, we hope all your suggestions are noted. Thank you so much for your expertise on the program. Inko Taria Ipalibo, security analyst. Many thanks indeed.